Hello. Let me check this is all working as I want it to. Because I have no faith in the system. This is the nice thing about having two laptops. I don't know what I'd do if I didn't. All right. I know that audio is a little bit crunchy. It was either that or you hear every single piece of background noise that has ever existed ever. I might be able to fix it a little bit. Is that any better? Maybe this? I think that'll have to do. It might also be that my voice is a little bit crunchy this morning. Good morning. Great. Okay, right. Turning myself off, because otherwise I am my concurrent viewer, and that gets very confusing. Today, I need to share all this to Discord and places, but we are doing some reading sprints. Not very many of them. We're not going to be here for ages. I know sometimes we do quite long ones, but this is just going to be, what's the phrase? We're doing little ones because I've got a wonderful friend coming at lunchtime. So I don't really know, you know, when you don't really know what defines lunchtime. But I'm going to try and read Animorphs. That's the goal, is attempting to read Animorphs. We're on Animorphs 47. There's a beaver on the front cover. That's what I'm doing. I hope you're all having a lovely Sunday morning or whatever time on a Sunday it is for you. I have coffee, I have oat milk, but I bought the whole milk oat milk, which I'm sure is filled with all kinds of nastiness, but it's really tasty. And if I finish Animorphs and we still have more time, then I'm going to try and read as much of Terraformers as I can, or The Terraformers by Annalee Newitz. That's the plan for that. I'm trying to think what else I need to say. I think that's the highlights. I have a hat on because my hair's a mess. Don't worry about it too much. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Yeah, let me know what you're reading. Let me know what you're planning on doing. Let me know how your week's been. It's been a while since we've done reading sprints, I feel. I've got some more on Monday that are Patreon ones that I'm doing with Angela. But other than that, yeah, 73 pages of Animorphs goodness is how I'm starting my day. So I need to get that all set up because I have a system now. Ooh, that's my alarm clock. I have a system now for how I get Animorphs done. I have a system for the reading. I don't have a system for the filming, as is evident by the fact that I'm 3 videos behind. Shh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So yeah, you'll probably see me staring in this direction a lot. I am reading. It's just, I'm reading over here. Animorphs 47. The resistance? The persistence? Hard to read on this PDF. But that's all good. Hi, Amber! That's my TV. I need to get out of bed first, though. Be right back. Yes, this was a struggle this morning for me. To the point where I just posted on Discord that I was doing sprints in order that I would have to get out of bed. Sometimes it is just like that. Right, I think I'm going to kick off because, as I say, time is limited this morning. So we're going to head on over to this screen where I lost my screen that had the proper timer on it. No, I didn't. It's right here. Oh, I found it again. I just didn't scroll all the way up. That was smart of me. Okay, great. We're going to sprint for half an hour while Amber gets ready. That makes it sound like we're reliant on Amber for this. Amber, you take your time. We're going to go. Who's ready? I'm ready. Let's go. Muting my microphone. Hi, hello, good morning, everyone. For those who weren't here right at the start, I'm sorry the audio is a little bit crunchy. There was a ridiculous amount of background noise, and I haven't had the time to properly fix it, so I'm just suppressing it heavily, as I do with all of my problems. Welcome, welcome. Let me just do something clever, mediumly clever. Is that how many minutes that is? Nope. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. $800. 900? There we go. I'm just trying to set a timer for a break. We're going to do a 15-minute break because I'm tired and because Animorphs really bumps it out of me. Right, let me read back through these properly. Amber's here. Chris Bookin is here. Hello. I should be sleeping, and yet I am not. That is very, very valid. Chocolate Teapot just woke up. It's a good start to my day. I'm very pleased for you. It is also helping start my day. Starling's here, which is just awesome. Rereading Ladies of Grace Adieu while I hang out, which I do need to read. It's on my list to read because I am a Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. Yes? Yes. I always get the words mixed up. Excuse me, losing my voice. I liked it a lot the first time I read it. The second time I read it, I was like, this is long. And I think having read Piranesi and loved it, I feel like I need to go back and reabsorb. Marlene's here. Hi, how are you doing? Paramita M. Hello, been lurking on the channel for a long time. First time here, jumping in now, reading The Witchwood Crown by Tad Williams. Nice. I haven't read a Tad Williams yet. Should I? And yes, short stories, all-time favourites. First story, Grace Adieu. Nice. Marlene got up and dressed and making oatmeal, so the day is just starting. Hoping to do some reading and maybe dive and paint a bit. Hello from Germany. Hello from Germany. Hello from England, where we actually have sunshine for the first time in what feels like many days. I was chatting with someone I know who's a very cool job title. She's an aquatic engineer, and she was saying that near us in kind of Oxfordshire books, the groundwater's risen by like 2 meters or something ridiculous. And like, to be fair, the groundwater was really low before. But that's crazy. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell was terrible for me. It's so long. I enjoyed parts of it, but slightly regret all the time I spent on it. I think I needed to reframe it is one of the things. Like the first time I read it during rehearsals for a play. It was rehearsals for an Edinburgh Festival show. So I don't know why I was like, yeah, I can definitely read this book alongside doing scenes. That's fine. But it was quite good because I knew I would only need one book for the entire time. And then the second time I read it was, there was something that it needed. It was like under a really short deadline for some self-imposed stupid reason. And I think reframing it as more like shorter elements to a story rather than I need to read this big one big long narrative, I think would probably help me. And yes, probably doing the audiobook as well would be a smart move. I'm missing bits. There we go. Started to reread of Game of Thrones, that sprint. I'm surprised by how much I've forgotten, even more shocked how much I remember. That's always the way with things like that. I got that with, what was I reading? Day of Fallen Night. How much I could remember of Priory that I was convinced I would have completely forgotten. Yeah, I read the first A Song of Ice and Fire. Is the first one, yes? Or is the first one called A Game of Thrones? This shows you how much it really seeped into my consciousness. I read the first one and realised that I cared about maybe 3% of the characters, and I was just skim reading all of the between chapters to get to the characters I cared about. And I was like, maybe not. Maybe this isn't the best option for me. One day, maybe. Don't jinx it. I don't want to get rained on later today. I'm sorry. If you do, I'll come rescue you with many umbrellas. Haven't seen your latest weekly update. What book are you reading right now? Right now, on this stream, I'm reading Animorphs 47. I've got my to-do list stuff, actually. Let me transition over to that. So yeah, this is my very basic to-do list. I have to read and script Animorphs, read the Terraformers, and do my Duolingo. Today's a simple day. We're going to switch back to this. So yes, I'm reading that, and then The Terraformers is my fiction book. Well, I know Animorphs is fiction, but that feels much more of an obligation read that I'm reading, which is so far very good. It's Annalee Newitt's, it's sci-fi, and so far we have a main character who is like a ranger, like almost like a park ranger on this very sort of newly terraformed world. And so far it's really interesting, and I think it's going to get into colonialism and all that stuff, because of course it will. Annalee Newitt's writing about how capitalism is bad. Are we surprised? But yeah, it's going to be great. That's why I'm reading. Marlene's going to try and find an audiobook of one of my current reads so I can diamond paint at the same time. That is one of my favourite things to do, if I'm especially when I'm feeling really slumpy, is switch from physically reading something to audiobook. I did it for L'Oreal in the last week or so, which I've just finished, which was a good time, but very... I don't know if anyone's read the Old Kingdom books, but L'Oreal is a struggle for so many reasons. Hello from Worcestershire. It's flooded here. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope everything is all right with you. That's really stressful. Flooding can be very devastating. It is one of my fears. When we lived in central Oxford, we lived in one of the places where it would flood, and every single day that it rained, I was frantically Googling, am I going to have my stuff flooded out? Help me. I refuse to have a downstairs bedroom. Series is Song of Ice and Fire. The first book is Game of Thrones. Yes. Multiple POVs was something I liked, but I get bored very easily. I don't dislike a multiple POV book. I think when I read it, it would have been... I'm trying to think. I don't know if I have a record. I'm seeing if Storygraph has recorded when I... It would help if I could spell. It's definitely not called A Game of Thorns. No, it hasn't tagged it, so it must have been 2017 or something. L'Oreal was my favourite, the series. Oh, I really like L'Oreal as a character, don't get me wrong. Love that. But it's one of those books where the first... Sabriel's a darkish book, but it still feels very, overall kind of adventure-y. L'Oreal really starts in a dark place and keeps going there. And then there's some weird stuff with it's just complicated, and I can't spoil it for you, but maybe when I make my Old Kingdom review video, I'll do a spoilery version. I keep missing things. Hang on. There we go. I've definitely read the Old Kingdom books, but in 2000, so I have no memory of them whatsoever, except there are bells. Yes, there are many, many bells. I'm actually really enjoying rereading them. I think partly, obviously, there is the joy of Tim Curry as the audiobook narrator, which is always going to be fun. But they're weirdly timeless in a way that I don't think a lot of other, well, perhaps that's something about when you read things. But I find with that kind of series that Mortal Engines... Do I mean Mortal Engines? Yes, I do. I don't mean Mortal Instruments. I mean Mortal Engines. Edge Chronicles. Come on. Old Kingdom. There we go. I'm waking up very slowly. All three of them have a kind of timelessness that I don't know as much of the stuff I've read more recently has, but that might be because I read that stuff more recently. I don't know. Farewells. I saw your recent update. Very excited to read Day of Fallen Night, hoping the ending is not rushed like Priory. I don't want to spoil anything for you. I didn't love... It's not that I didn't love the ending. I think it's really difficult in a book that long, where you've got so many threads, and especially because I think part of it is that I think in my... Would it have been in that update video? I don't remember when I edit things. They slip out of my brain immediately after saying them. But it's almost slice of life fantasy, except the slice of life that you are getting is the lives of people who are incredibly powerful and who live very stressful lives and are at the centre of this thing. So to kind of go from that into the big wrap-up ending of a fantasy book is quite an interesting move, and I think that's why it feels a bit off. I don't know if I would feel the same way about Priory because I haven't reread it recently enough, but that's how I felt with Day of Fallen Night. It was overall worth reading. I wouldn't say the ending has stuck with me particularly. Excuse me. Tim Curry, I might reread them on audio sometime then. Yes. Excuse me, 1 second. The joys of the mute button. I just inhaled my own coffee. That's what happened there. He doesn't do the more recent ones for obvious reasons, but the older ones are Tim Curry. The one thing, though, is that the Audible one I have for L'Oreal, which I have from ages and ages ago, back when I had an Audible subscription, they haven't lined up the chapters with the tracks on the, effectively the... I can't remember what the word is. The audio files are not aligned with the chapters, and that's really annoying to me, because if you are doing immersion reading or if you're doing flipping between the two, which I was doing, I could only go from audiobook to book because I could search the book for the phrase in the audio. It was really annoying, as a warning for you. I found audios for both Babel and Royal Assassin. Which do I pick? Oh, I'm going to vote for Royal Assassin, but they're both really good. I also did the audiobook for Babel, and actually I did the audiobook for both, and they were both very good. I live on the 3rd floor and the flooding stops at the end of my road. My books are safe. I'm reading the Jasmine Flame this morning. Nice. Oh, I'm glad that you're all right, and I hope everyone else who is in flooding is all right as well. And Jasmine Throne, what a good time. Babel, because I've heard the Farsi audio narrations are great. I didn't mind them. I think what bothered me about the Farsi ones is that there isn't standardized pronunciation, and I had to headcanon for myself that these narrators were from like regional parts of the place where they would pronounce things differently, and that was how I got around that, because it really bothered me. Oh, here we go. I only read the original Old Kingdom trilogy, so that's fine. There you go. Started Malazan and attempted to pick up Wheel of Time back up as well. I think I may have a problem. Oh, that's so many like big chunky, like that kind of very particular kind of fantasy. Every so often I watch like an Angela video about Malazan and I'm like, no, not for me. Thank you so much. One of my audiobooks from Audible is 2 chapters, title, info, and book. Which is so annoying, because when I worked more in the publishing side of my current job, we were trying to submit stuff to Audible for to be made into an audiobook. Like, right, we had all the audio files because we made them for people who are visually impaired, and then we were like, great, we can get it on Audible, easy peasy. And they had such weird standards for stuff, like we had to re-record a bunch of things. So to know that someone could get away with chapter info, title info, and book is bothersome to me. Royal Assassin, always choose Robin Hobb first. Oh, we're like fully split. It's very interesting. Are you human, Malazan, and Wheel of Time together? How? Sorry, Robin reads. I'm not sprinting for oodles of time because I have one friend coming over later. So I'm gonna eat lunch in a bit. Might join after for reading. It depends on timings for the friend coming over, but I'll sprint for a while. At least until I'm finished with Animorphs. That's the plan. I'm not sure. I tend to thrive in chaos and bounce between books series to stay engaged. That's very valid behaviour. I am a reading multiple books all at once kind of human being as well. I think for me, I like to read things that are very different though. And I think if I was reading too much epic fantasy at once, I'd get very confused. Like I could just about cope with Day of Fallen Night and Words of Radiance at the same time, because they are very, very different books and they were different... different, what's the phrase? Different formats. I was reading one by audiobook and one not. Let me just send an address because I've just realised that you messaged me. There we go. That's sent, sorry. Awesome, I'll just see if it's still on. That's fun. I assume that it's one of those things that always tends to be one of the Space Sirens doing sprints at any given time, at any time. So I feel just check out everyone's channel. Someone will be doing them. Respect, I quit both Wheel of Time and Malazan at the end of book 2. I got through book 1 of Wheel of Time and realised that it was not a series that was going to give me what I needed, and quickly dived off that diving board into something else. Anyone wonder we've got about 2 minutes 45 seconds left in this break. I'm just keeping an eye on a little timer to the side. Yeah, no, so I read first book of Wheel of Time. I did it by audiobook back in... You know when you can't remember what year something happened and you can just remember where you were living during that time? And the longer I live in a place, the harder it is to know. So it would have been sometime between 2019 and 2021. I did the audiobook for the first Wheel of Time. And it's not a great audio. The version I had wasn't a great audiobook in terms of quality, which was bothersome, but in some ways kind of gave like a little bit of ASMR, like that kind of crunchy old recording. And yeah, it was one of those, it just didn't gel with me. And I think it's probably the thing of, if I didn't read, I'm going to say this in like, imagine like the biggest inverted commas that have ever existed professionally, then I probably could sit down and read it and, you know, have a good time and enjoy it. But I think because I read so much else, there's not the time to really like get into Wheel of Time. It's just not happened. I want to try Wheel of Time, but I'm not allowed until I make big progress in Hobb, Sanderson, or Martin. Very valid. How far are you through Hobb, Marlene? If you're just on Royal Assassin, is that the first set that you've read? It's been a joy and a delight watching everyone kind of go through the series. On occasion, people will get to a bit and I'm like, you've hit that point. That's where these emotions are coming from. I was very blessed to have a friend who had read all of them and was like deep in the Robin Hobb fandom for a good chunk of time, who recommended them to me. So when I was reading them, I had someone I could message every single moment and be like, firstly, please explain this to me. Secondly, ow, my heart, how dare you? Yes, restart Assassin's Apprentice 2. Yes. I actually, I'm a rare person. Well, not a rare person. I am a person who advocates for reading the live ship series first, which will spoil some stuff for you, but like, they're more fun if you don't get on with fits. That's my feeling. I'm 25% into book 2, so it's early on. Yes, yeah, no. Many, many joyous books to come, and some things that will frustrate and annoy. But overall, what a great series. Reading Fool's Quest soon, but won't destroy me too much. Yeah. Red Hobbit said Rainwild and Martin quit Sanderson after Words of Radiance. His writing is not for me. Valid. I've got 25 seconds to say this. I'm doing a Brandon Sanderson project at the moment, as many of you will know. And I'm finding actually his writing is much more broad than I thought it was going to be. And it's very clear what I like and what I don't like, which is interesting and useful data points. I'm always here for it. I skipped Live Ship Traders. I'm only reading fits. Oh, you're missing out on some good stuff. Right, we need to sprint again. I'm sorry to interrupt all of this good discourse. I like what Red just said, and on my brain did the whole object permanence thing where I forgot it existed. Oh my goodness, that is far too familiar. Far too familiar a feeling. Right, we're going into here. You can watch me real time, try and figure out how many seconds are in 30 minutes. That's how many seconds are in 30 minutes. Let's go. Smash it, everyone. And we're back. Hello. I'm having a time. 100? 900. To have a 15-minute break. There we go. Yeah, I'm having a time. Animorphs is interesting. We're going between the Animorphs in the modern day. The spoilers for Animorphs 47, by the way. Please feel free to pause the video and come back in 2 minutes when I've explained this. Animorphs in the modern day, morphing into beavers in order to dam a stream to stop, everything bad happening. And then every other chapter is the Civil War, including a lot of language of that time and attitudes of that time. And it's interesting. I don't know how I'm going to turn this into a video. Certainly it's not going to have very many quotes in it. That's the plan. What have I missed? I DNF'd Ship of Magic 3 times. I tried that's a valiant effort. Nikki's here. Hi. This was very spontaneous. I don't think you actually missed anything. For anyone joining us, remember the audio is really crunchy. I'm sorry about it. Made lunch and we'll eat it during the chatty bit. What are you having for lunch? That sounds like a tasty time. I have a lot of good snacks in the house at the moment and I'm saving them, but it's going to be great. After that, I'll be continuing on my reread of Hannibal by Thomas Harris, book 3 in the Hannibal Lecter series. Nice. Listen to half a chapter of Babel while working on my diamond painting. What is your diamond painting of, Marlene? I should ask. Please send pictures if you have them. I read 24 pages of Red Scholar's Wig. Ooh, are you enjoying it, Nikki? I can't remember. Are you another person who really likes Aliette de Bodard's writing? Are you a fellow, whatever the word for fans of Aliette de Bodard is? I would love to know. Couscous with black beans. Oh, tasty. I haven't had couscous in ages. We had it, when you get into like a comfort food and then you have it too much and it becomes bad again? That was the cycle of couscous for us. Read about 60 pages of The Witchwood Crown. Nice. I've only read one of hers, but I did enjoy it. Which one did you read? I'm intrigued. Let me know. I also just need to update my to-do list because we've got to this far. 49% of the way through Animorphs. Not too shabby. We might actually finish this today. And I have done my Duolingo. That was the reason I haven't got further in Animorphs is I've done... My Ukrainian for today is done. Da-da-da-da. It's the cutest little purple white owl. I sent a pic in the group chat. My phone's in my pocket. There we go. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, wholesome. I appreciate. Everyone just has to know that it's very cute. Sorry, just doing logistics. And let me forward that. There we go, done. So yes, that Animals continues to be a particularly weird one. Not really sure why they've decided to go for this Civil War angle in a teen sci-fi series, and also I feel the real cultural distance from it as a Brit. I know enough about the American Civil War to get the gist, but mostly it's very it's confusing times. Oh, but yes, also things are happening on Discord. People are coming into Discord. That's very nice. Animorphs is and always has been. But there's degrees there. This is the thing. When I finally finish the series, I'm going to have to tier rank them in terms of weirdness because some of them are wild in I always come back to book 2, which is morphing the vice principal's daughter's cat and bonding with her because her parents are both yicks and she doesn't know. That's weird. This is time flipping between the American Civil War and modern day Animorphs, year 2000-ish, and becoming beavers, and that's extra odd. And also, I'm now at the point where, I'm never reading the spin-offs. I just can't. At this point, it's a matter of principle. I'm not doing it. And every so often they'll reference that time that we were dinosaurs, and I'm just there what's happening? Where am I? So I'm very excited to be done with the series because I just feel like my sanity will regain. Some days I remember that in Animorphs, broccoli is canonically not an Earth food, yeah. And that dogs are descendants of aliens who were vaguely dog-shaped, and if you have a dog that is extra joyful, they're extra alien. Yeah. It is very odd, Marlene. Yeah, it's very, very odd. I've just realised I turned off the timer. There we go. There it is. So yeah. That's partly why they take so long to read, is I have to spend so much time just staring into the middle distance, being like, what's happening here? What am I doing with my life? Why did 2019 Judith think this was a good idea? Was it 2019? Yeah, it must have been. In fact, let's see when the oldest Animorphs video was, because it must be coming up for like 4 years. Where will I find it? It's in my playlists. Playlists? No. Content. Playlists. Oh, the joys of the back end of YouTube. 3 years ago. Okay. All right. It's only 3 years. It was... Oh, just give me the description, please. Oh, I have such long hair. 15th of August, 2019. So, yeah, coming up for 4. Which is wild. Wild that it will be that long, because it's not going to be done by August, I don't think. And what I want to be reading is my terraforming book. That's what I want, but that's what it is. The instant maple and ginger oatmeal thing, yeah. Incredibly, you get with it for so long, the book sounds so weird. I feel like if someone ever asked me, like, especially like in a job interview or something, like, how do you show your dedication to something? Just being like, I cannot not finish this. I started a series 4 years ago that I regretted after video 3, and I'm still making them. It's been a fun experience. I talk rubbish about Animorphs a lot. It's been very interesting. Like, it's an enjoyable thing. I think what I should have done is just read them all and made one video, and I didn't do that. That's what it is. But you know what? Sometimes you live with the choices that you made 4 years ago when you had slightly more time and fewer brain things going on. That's what it is. Oh dear. Dearie me. Ooh. Yes, Gavin read them. Yeah, all in a month. It was one of those moments where I was like, I really hope this doesn't point people towards my videos in any like algorithmic way, because I don't want the traffic. I do not like those early videos. I look very, very strange in them. But no, it'll be fine. And when it's all done, it'll be a really big sense of achievement and joy, and it will have been a significant thing that I have done, and that is an exciting thing. That's an achievement. I don't really know what past Judith was thinking. I wish I could go back in time and like have a chat with her and be like, how long do you think this is going to take? Because I'm here now. I think that would be amusing. But if you read all of them in 1 month, you just wouldn't read anything else. You'd have to live and breathe Animorphs for a full month, and that would be intense. I can just about cope with one a week. Past us is always problematic, let's be honest. So true. None more so than past Judith, who had time on her hands. How many books are there? I think there were 56. I always forget. It's either 56 or 54. Let's go to our good friend Wikipedia to tell us. 54, and then there's a bunch of spin-offs as well. Fascinating, lazy and selfish. Oh no! Theoretically, you could still decide not to not continue the same way for the last ones and do one long video for the rest. This is so true, and I could do that for April, combining 4 of them. It would make this one slightly easier, but I think I'm just gonna do it. Like, at this point, it's all good. It's all good. I'm just gonna double check that is, yeah. 47 out of 54 isn't bad nearly there. No, that's the other thing, is I really do have summit fever at this point. I'm like, I've got to get there. Gavin read them pretty quickly. I read 2 weeks or something. I would be dead. Well, yeah, Gavin is a powerhouse. Sounds horrific, honestly. Ugh. I think I could do it for I could do it for a series I'd read before. I think, especially if it was like one that you knew really well. Like if someone was like, you've got to read all of Edge Chronicles in a month, I could definitely do that. If someone said you need to read all of the Roman Mysteries in a month, 1,000% I could do that. Yeah, Animorphs, it requires more brain space than that. Also, it's so like traumatic. Like they're books about the unjustness of war. That's very intense. Like they start very funny and they are, broadly speaking, very weird and very 90s and, well, 90s, early 2000s. But they get to some very nasty places. Like they frequently very nearly die in horrific ways. Because when you give I think I talked about this in one of the videos, when you give your main characters the power to heal themselves from virtually anything, like they can come back from almost death, and they can die in any form, like in any body shape or whatever, then yeah, the stakes are pretty high because, you know, you've got to do more than kill them. It's intense. It gets very intense. There's some nasty bits. Yeah. One of the things I enjoy that I don't do as much in the videos anymore, but like habitually I'll check who ghost wrote. Yes, it must be ghost wrote. Who the ghostwriter was for each one, and you can see like, oh, that's the person who writes really horrifying descriptions of morphing. Great, it's one of those books. I haven't actually done that for this one. I need to open that tab again. What are we on? 47. Ellen Giroux, who also wrote that one where they became ants. Oh, Ellen Giroux wrote a lot of these. Yeah, and a lot of them are pretty intense. Oh, and that one where they travel in time as well. That makes a lot of sense. Was this her first one? Yeah. It's all tracking, everyone. It's all tracking. But is this the last one by her? This is the last one by her, so that'll be interesting. There we go. My mind went places. I read 25 volumes of One Piece in a month for my friend's birthday. He wanted someone to talk about it. He loved it. That's the like nicest thing ever. That's so sweet. Oh, as somebody who gets very hyperfixated on things, quite often all I want is somebody to consume, especially because I consume content at a rapid rate. Like, you know, we've talked about this a million times. I watch everything at 2 times speed. I will binge watch everything. Like, if I'm interested in it, I want to watch it all as quickly as possible before I lose interest in it, right? And all I want is a person to go, I will also do that for you. And I will also watch, in this instance, all of Dimension 20. So that you have someone to talk to about it. What I should do is just be less scared of joining fandoms. I think that would probably solve my problems. I've only got into a couple of series with over 10 books. I'm not sure I could read any of them in a month without burning out. I think it depends on the kind of series, right? I tried to reread a series before the final book a year ago. I still haven't finished. Oh, which series? I think it depends. There are some things that I definitely could do. So I don't necessarily support him as like an author, but the Jeff Wheeler King Fountain books that are like, they're Amazon-y ones. They're fairly like, I don't describe them as pulp fiction, but they are kind of like fairly easy to read fantasy books, and I read them all in one sitting, and it's because they were fairly like easy. I think if I was reading something with a lot of like investment in characters and emotional depth and stuff, I don't think I would be able to. And probably, to be fair, I couldn't do that as much anymore now that I read so much more than back then. That would have been 2017 though, so I was still reading a fair amount. So the action adventure one by Matthew Riley, nice. Yeah, at the moment I'm committed to reading a lot of series, but I tend to do them one a week, which I think works much better for me because it's a short enough period of time that my brain doesn't immediately eject all of the relevant information out of my brain, but it's long enough that I feel fresh going into it. And I think it also, it's sort of like an absence makes the heart grow fonder kind of thing of, I need to, what's the word? Come on, brain, get in gear, drink this coffee, do the thing. Absence make the hearts go fonder of, I'll finish a book and go, oh, I'm really excited to read the next book, but I don't jump straight into it because that's how I burn myself out. So for instance, I just finished Dreadful Company, which is the second Greta Helsing book, and I'm really excited to read the third one, but I know if I start it today, I won't love it. If I start it tomorrow, I'll have a great time. Just a little bit of time to process the end of one book and go into the next one. That's helpful. Fame Flowers is the best Dimension 20. Oh my goodness, Chocolate Teapot! Welcome, welcome, please. I will talk to you about it for hours. I love Court of Fame Flowers so much. It's so good. I am watching through all of it at the moment, like as in all of Dimension 20, and I've got as far as Unsleeping City Chapter 2, and I'm having the best time. This is going to mean nothing to anyone who doesn't have context for this, but oh, I'm having a wonderful time. But I did watch Court of Fame Flowers first. And I regret nothing. I'm going to cancel all my other streaming subscriptions and just have Dropout from now on. Not sponsored, just truth. I always say I can't wait to read a sequel and then wait a year. 100%, 100%. Right, we are ready for some more sprinting. Everyone, let me just set up the timer. Once again, please feel free to mock the fact that I can never remember how many seconds are in 30 minutes. Okay, cool. Right, I'm hoping I can get to, let's say 75% of the way through Animorphs, which is another 25%. That's the plan. So I will speak to you in half an hour. Muting my microphone now. Bye-bye. Sorry, it's just too thrilling. I'm like in the end game of this Animorphs book. Back to the chat screen and setting myself a little timer. There we go. Lovely. I'm sorry, Nikki. Normally I remember to be quiet, but I forgot this time. It's fine. It's just to get you out of that headspace and into another. That's what I'm going to claim. Right, I'm just scrolling up to see what I missed. Too much of a plan. Oh, we were talking about sequels, weren't we? Too much of a planner for that. I read a sequel. Yeah, I need to go through all of the sequels that come out this year and plan in the rereads for the books that come before them. I'm sorry if you can hear squeaking in the background. The dog has a squeaky toy. Hi, Chloe. Reading Ninth House. Nice. I was wondering if I ought to do a reread of that, deciding if I want to read Hellbent or not. And then we explain what reading sprints are. Do more Babel audio, more diamond painting. I'm really loving this audio. I might switch over completely for this book. It is a good audiobook. I enjoyed it. I like that the footnotes go in line. Something I appreciate. John Layton read 24 pages. Nice. My fault. I was napping. Read 90 pages and then closed my eyes because I was struggling. Sleepy. Yeah, Luna's been very cute. I'm going to put a picture that Casey just sent me on the Pets channel on my Discord because it's really cute. I just need to save it. She's been absolutely precious at the moment. I think it's because she's a bit chilly because I need to put the heating on. But it's there. We're all saying hello. Babel's great on audio. Yeah, no, it definitely is. It definitely is. Animorphs is continuing to be very, very weird. Hi everyone, I need the motivation to read, so thank you for sprinting, and we need to fly the night for a book club. Nice, nice. I've fallen out of all of my, not fallen out as in like had an argument with, but I've just completely fallen out of doing all of my book club obligations at the moment. There's too much else to read. It's a problem. I need to get back into it. I really do. Decided not to continue with Hannibal because I haven't been in the mood for horror for months now and forcing myself at this point, which isn't good, especially with rereading. Absolutely. Yeah, no. I feel like New Year horror is a hard thing. I always want horror like at the end of the year. I just finished The Fire the Night yesterday. Loved it. Nice, nice. I feel like there's been a lot of, maybe I'm projecting, but a lot of good reading happening this, not just only these sprints, which you're all doing amazingly, but this year generally. I felt very on top of things. I think it's just that New Year glow, and February I will completely burn out again. That's probably the plan. I decided to only do book club books I really, really want to read this year. I think that's very sensible. I know Angela does a lot of like her book club that's not necessarily SFF, and that would not be good for me. Now reading the Red Glacier book before in the Guardian saga by Julia Gray. Easy fantasy read next to A Song of Ice and Fire. Nice, nice. Yeah. I got 2. I haven't actually worked out the percentage yet. I'm very close to the end though. Kind of don't want to know. 83% of the way through Animorphs. 83. So very close. And also the end of Animorphs always go really quickly because I just skim over all the fight scenes. It's just like, yes, I bit him. Rachel hit him. Marco did a gorilla thing. And I'm like, yeah, there we go. We all know this. I don't need to read this out to anyone on a video. It's fine. Trying to pull out the key bits. Blah, 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 fight happened. Exactly. That is 100% accurate. The ones where there are more fights, how long are Animorphs on average? So the books are about 100 pages-ish, depending. The edition you have, that they're not long. I would say, yeah, around about 100 pages. And then the videos are usually, the raw footage is usually about an hour, and I edit them down to about half an hour, is usually my kind of 3 timings. I'm not a fight scene girl. There are very few fight scene human being. There are very few books where I'm really keen on the fight scene moments. One of which is the Sword of Kaigen. I'm trying to think if there are other examples. No, to be honest, that's the one that I remember really sticking with me in terms of the fight scenes. Or I suppose maybe something like the Wounded Kingdom trilogy, because they're a really interesting way of depicting fight scenes where, it's really interesting. So in the author's note, it's R.J. Barker, in case anyone's wanted to look it up, does a combo of like the names for the moves that the person is doing, and they're like a trained assassin, so it makes sense for them to have these things. Just the names for the moves, but combined with like describing what's happening just before that. And the idea behind it was that an element of it is this assassin main character is so like well trained that all of those moves are kind of instinctual. So you're just doing them. I'm just going into, I can't remember what any of them are called, and my brain just supplied me with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That's not what they're called, but that I go into that, and then the elements of it that are described are the bits that aren't instinctual because you have to react to something. I don't know. It's a very cool way of doing it. I wouldn't say it always works, but it was one of the more interesting ways of doing it. Fights are described very filmically. I like them. Yes, very true. Often comes up feeling like a list of actions that I'd very quickly lose track of. Yes. I feel like I very rarely read combat that I very much enjoy. I once read historical military fiction. The only time I've read it was for my interview for Oxford, because I was being interviewed by somebody who wrote historical military fiction, ancient history, historical fiction, and I did not enjoy it, but I, at the time, was like, this is how I will get into university. So I will tell this person that I read their book. And I'm not saying it didn't work, because I did get in. And who knows what the reason for that was. To be fair, I didn't get into his college, so maybe that was too much. But just, yeah, past me being like, yes, this is the solution to all of my problems. I'll read a fiction book. Oh, come on, OBS, give me my information. I like it's when it's very little actual actions and more sensations and feelings. Yes. Sorry, Sword and I blocked it. So true. There's not to bring it all back to Dimension 20, but there's a character in the latest season who knows how to fight, but only knows fencing moves, like sword fighting moves, through a book. So every time they're doing combat, it's like, I get out my book and I do 2 swords dancing. It's great. I enjoy that as a concept. I think the reason I like Sword of Kaigen is because it is very filmic, and I think also because there's kind of a combination of things. It feels like very slowly written combat for things that are going very quickly, because these people are so good at combat that they have like the brain space, is how I perceive it. Like they have the capacity to think about all of these things at great speed. That's my wafting a sword, by the way. I think that helps because it's a bit slower, and you're not trying to... I think often people try and convey the pace of a battle by making the writing faster, and that doesn't help me, because then I just get confused, as you say, just like what's happening right now. Poppy War was really good with fight scenes, I think. Yeah, I remember enjoying the Poppy War fight scenes, but again, that's like a nice one where there's a combo of different fighting things going on. It's not just like sword v sword. There's a lot of magic happening and such. Yeah, I haven't read the Poppy War recently enough to really remember. And to be honest, most of what I remember of the Poppy War series as a whole is not the fight scenes. But that's true of most books. There's very few things where I'm like, yes, I recall this combat was what I remember. Yeah. I'm looking behind me to see if there's anything else. Yeah, I don't read a lot of very like combat heavy books. It's just not my thing. Not my thing. I'll also tell you though that the author that I read that historical military fantasy, not military fantasy, if it had been fantasy, I'd have had a great time. That historical military fiction book, his name was Harry Sidebottom, and I had to practice for like 2 weeks before my interview, not laughing at his name. And again, did get into the university, so I think it paid off. But just the idea of walking in, being introduced and laughing out loud at someone's name would have happened. I am that kind of person. Every time. So yeah, you can look. I don't recommend that book. Also, then, we were basically the same person, just a year apart. But yeah, had to really practice. Hi, nice to see you. What time is it? 12. I need to put some lunch on. No, we don't need this. But first, next ups, we're finishing Animorphs. That's going to be my goal for the next sprint. I also had dinner with him once, and all the other tutors at the college spent their time absolutely ragging on him for those books. That doesn't surprise me. I feel like people who must write that kind of thing, you're not writing like historically accurate stuff. I just realized you won't know this name. It's wonderful. So, hi, Wanda. Nice to see you. Welcome. That's very lovely to see you. What am I going to have for lunch? Well, I've got to cook it later, but we've got what I would describe as Judith went to the supermarket with no plan and only hunger. And it's an assortment of goods. Is it Wanda's birthday? Happy birthday! Oh my goodness. I would sing, but I'm not going to. That would be a nightmare for everyone. But like, happy birthday. Aww. I feel like I only just ate breakfast. I should probably have a late lunch. I have that issue regularly. The issue of I went to the supermarket hungry. Yeah. It's very much like I see a thing and I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds good. And then you bring it all home and like, this isn't a coherent meal. This doesn't include any of the food groups. I've just bought olives and beans. But don't worry. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. There's snacks as well. 9 out of 10, I write a list, confidently stride to the shop, then realise I've left it at home. Oh, we've done that many a time. Many a time. The solution, by the way, take a photo of your list, and you always have it. I've started using Alexa. We did that for a while. We haven't got our Alexa plugged in at this house because there wasn't a good place to put her. But when we were it would have been like early pandemic times, so where everything had to come from like that one shop that was happening once a week, and if you missed it, it was a bad idea. We would make Alexa list our shopping all the time because it was also really helpful for when when you just like use up the last of a bottle of soy sauce and you're not going to need soy sauce, but the next time you need it, you're not going to remember to buy it. Helpful for that, in like a finishing one thing and replacing it kind of way. Put the list on my phone. All very smart suggestions that I feel like people who are like me, a little bit disorganized and don't remember these things, it's not going to go well. Still only get half meals or too much food. Yeah, one of the things I've realized having this is very boring, but like having started going to the gym is how little protein I was eating ever, because like I was doing like we're eating vegetarian meals, but I was having like no protein whatsoever, and I really do have to remember when I'm planning food, I'm like, I'll have a salad, and I'm like, remember to add something that will actually serve this this meat sack needs protein to live. Digital lists are a no-go for my brain. Yeah. I think we made the list, if I remember correctly, we made the list physically, but we would use the digital, like, Amazon, it was the Amazon ladies list as like the, while I'm in the moment thinking about it, way of making the list. So that was helpful. Yeah. I'm really worried that a lot of people are going to die in this Animorphs book, and I don't know how I'm going to convert that into it doesn't need to be a funny video, but just like an entertaining video. It's going to be just like a bit of a miserable time. Oh well, never mind. It's fine. My shopping lists need to be written a particular way so I can tap them in the right order and then fold it over when a party's done so I don't get overwhelmed. That is very smart. Do you do like what we have? We have a grid. And then you have like the things that are in the cold section, the things that are in the, I think we have like cold, fresh fruit and veg, cupboard, and others, like the other section of the supermarket where like, cleaning stuff and or, yeah. A familiar feeling. We've been cooking things from, most cookbooks are like broadly speaking very useless. We got given the Dungeons and Dragons cookbook for Christmas from some friends, and we've had some surprisingly pleasant meals out of it. We've had to make a lot of them vegetarian because, unsurprisingly, when you're pretending to make cuisine for like dwarves, as in the mythological sense, that it's a lot of steak, and we don't eat that. And it's been very pleasant. We've had some good hearty stews. Although I do appreciate that one of the recipes is like something like traveler's rations, and it's basically like chop up some salami and some cheese and some grain and put it in a bag. It's like, that's not a recipe. That's a bag of meats. I have a Discworld cookbook that I still need to try. I feel like we've probably found like the best recipes out of the D&D one and done those, but it's been an enjoyable time. Good, well-seasoned foods. Yeah, we had... Oh, there's one, the potatoes. It's like, this is a dwarven dish because they're smashed potatoes, and then you would use a hammer. And you're like, we got creative. Some of these things were a bit of a stretch. There's a great video of a guy who tried eating rations as dictated by the player's handbook. It was interesting. Oh no, that feels like a recipe for disaster. No pun intended. She lied. Oh, that's fabulous. Okay, right. Well, we're gonna sprint again, pals. We're gonna do at least one more. We might do two more, depending on Judith's brain power is entirely what's doing. Going through the Ottolenghi test kitchen recipe book. Nice. It's actually too full to finish them, if I recall, but distinct lack of vegetable fiber. Intriguing, intriguing. Okay, this is the end of the break. So we're gonna. Oh, every time I just need to write down how many it is. It's not that. It's 1,800. There we go. All right, everyone. Heading out should probably be wearing clothes. Ideally, it just only because it's cold. You can always remove them at any point when you're here. All right. See you, everyone. See you in half an hour. We're back. Hey. Bing. Bing. Setting a break timer for 15 minutes. Hello. Hello. Angela's here. Excellent. Hello, welcome. Happy Sunday. Still working on waking up. Robin Reed's read about 20 pages. Nice. 30 pages for Chloe. Awesome. 115 pages nearly done. Fantastic. I finished Animorphs. Everyone be pleased for me. So that means the only other thing I have to finish this week to have finished everything on my to-do list is to finish Terraformers. The Terraformers. I must start using the right definite articles for things, which is so far very good. I'm 18% of the way through. Gonna update that on Storygraph. And so far it's very good. Formers. I can spell. There it is. Yeah, very, very good. Really interesting. Really excited to read more of it and to talk about it and stuff. Oh, except I need to set which edition I'm reading, which is a digital edition. I'm trying to keep better track of like what format I read things in this year, because I think it'll be interesting. And that's helpful to me. What did I just say? 18%. Perfect. Last normal Babel, don't know how much I finished Little Square of Diamond I wanted to do today. Nice. How long does it take you, Marlene? Is it like a, do you have a sense of, obviously it depends how detailed a section is, but how long do you think it'll take to do like the whole thing? Read 18 pages and loving it, also made lunch. Nice. I need to go put the oven on to preheat. Possibly in the next sprint, possibly in the sprint after that. Just for those who are new, the audio is a bit crunchy. I'm aware of it. It's fixable, but not right now. The other thing is we're doing reading sprints today. I've got a friend coming over for about, I think, like 20 to 2. So I'll probably try and finish around about 2-ish, if not before. So we've got like at least a couple more sprints, maybe 1 or 2 more. That's the plan, if you're interested, depending on how long of breaks we take, honestly. If I were doing a sprint, it would be the Unbroken, but my cat has my cat has stolen my arm. Tragedy. How is the reread of The Unbroken going? I did see in your Friday reads that it was going well, but tell me how it's going still. I only do little sections at a time because of strain on eyes and back and neck, and sometimes I do nothing for months, so it takes a while. Yeah, that's me and embroidery. I have embroidery that's been sat around for many, many months. I think that kind of thing where it's crafty and creative, but also requires some concentration is always interesting. Yeah. I need to finish the pair of socks that I'm knitting. I'm hoping I can do a bit of that today. But I've realised that I did a point of it wrong and it's way too far back to fix. And it's not a problem. It just means that one sock will be slightly longer than the other. And I think I'm just going to live with that. I think I started this owl in September 2021. Well, you're looking pretty good from the photo you sent through to the group chat. Everyone who's not on that group chat, sorry. But you've got like a good chunk of it done. He's looking very snazzy. Also, I'm mostly impressed that, like, since September 2021, you've kept all the parts organised, because that would not be me. I read nothing in that sprint. I made scrambled eggs and a cover instead. 120 pages of the Jasmine Throne left. Is this your first time reading the Jasmine Throne? Because if so, very excited for you. And if you get a bit bogged down in Jasmine Throne, the second book is even better, just so you know. Just me and Angela hyping up the Jasmine Throne for everyone. I do need to reread that before... No, not Jasmine Throne. I need to reread The Unbroken as well before the sequel comes out. That's the thing I really ought to just spend some time doing, I think, is putting in all of the sequel rereads that need to happen this year, because there's like Rook and Rose, there's a bunch of stuff. Iron Widow. There's so many things that I ought to make the effort and do the reread. But I'm trying to read more this year that isn't rereads, because last year was a little bit off balance, shall we say. Last year was 79, whatever, let me work out the percentage, because I can't do it off the top of my head. About 30% rereads, which isn't too bad, but I would like it to be a bit different. The sequel is in my basket, ready to order. Nice. The Unbroken is going well, but my mental health is disliking physical reading still, and the audiobook is apparently not very good, so going slower than the first time, but still super solid. Fair enough. Don't have time to reread Rook and Rose because the first 2, because they are chunks, but I will want to. I'm thinking I might try and do them by audiobook, possibly towards the end of the year, just because I find that that's easier for me to slot into my schedule. But then I have to like obtain the audiobooks, and that is money that I don't necessarily have. So we'll see. That's a future Judith problem. But I feel like when I want to reread things that are a bit longer, sometimes it can help me to go into a different format, especially if it's something as detailed as Rick and Rose, where I actually want to pay attention to stuff. And also because getting into a third book, like I want to see the early seeding of stuff and go into the rest. Oh, I'm sorry, I've just realized these headphones are still playing stuff. There we go. But we send many hugs to Angela and moral support for this Sunday morning. Well, it's now Sunday afternoon here, but it's morning for you. Yeah, I'm also trying to pull together my, I don't think you're going to be able to see it unless I tilt the camera, which I can't do. My stack of books for next week, which is looking a little bit aggressive. Most of it's rereading. Most of it's not going to be too difficult, but I really do need to finish Terraformers today because I cannot add another book into next week. That would be a bad idea. I'm so excited to reread Rick and Rose, but mostly for fun. I have faith that Emmy Carrick will have detailed what happened previously section. I'm sure they will do, yeah. Need to focus on continuing series because I'll continuously reread the first book in a series and then forget by the time I want to carry on. That is a big problem. I think for the most part I've got much better at, if I'm starting a series, either reading it very quickly all together or just saying, I will understand it when I understand it. So the Dandelion Dynasty, I've read the first 2 books. I haven't read book 3. I will read it. I'm not going to reread book 1 and 2 before I pick it up, you know? That's stack. I checked to see if they had the audio, but didn't. Interesting. I should go make a sandwich. Enjoy your sandwich, Nikki. It is a hefty stack. To be fair, I've already read half of Shadows of Self. Curse of the Gloam Glozer is not going to be too long. And these 3 are all YA and rereads. It's just a trilogy that I need to... Having said in this live stream that I don't read series completely back to back, I have to do it this week. And then this is going to be a good time. I'm really enjoying the Greta Helsing books. I haven't looked at what this one's meant to be. A health spa for mummies. I'm excited. A mysterious illness. Oh, they're just so much fun. I really enjoyed them. And didn't know until I read Dreadful Company that Vivian Shaw is married to Arcady Martin, which makes a lot of sense and pleased me. But the idea of like 2 authors in a relationship, I find very stressful. I often picture, this is purely stereotyping, but I picture like the author spouse and the non-author spouse doing other things. And the idea of 2 people doing it together would be interesting. Yeah, so I don't think next week's going to be too taxing. None of it's audiobook though, which is interesting. So I could throw in a wild audiobook. I could throw in a wild audiobook into the mix, but I don't know what that would be because I have actually got through my audiobook TBR, which was only Words of Radiance, to be fair. But I might throw in some stuff that I've got saved on Scribd. Not sponsored by Scribd. I always say it. So I could still finish A Mirror Mended. Let's filter this down to audiobooks. Just because I like to have an audiobook while I'm walking the dog, basically. So not long things is good. Apply. Sophie and the Bone Song. Potentially. There's some Tea Kingfisher that I might get to. Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff I've saved on here. I just tend to like look at things on Scribd and save it. The Vila is a really good audio. Noted. A wild audio. I hope they finish my reread of Amari 1 soon so I can go into book 2. Yes! Oh, I really want to read book 2. I'm waiting till it's out in either paperback or like the library has a version of it. I suspect the library will have because I don't need to own it. You know, it's not a book that I desperately need to own, but I really do want to read the second book. There's a podcast everywhere for free. Becky Chambers writes some episodes of it. Okay, noted. Noted. I will look it up. You may have to just like remind me of this after the stream is done. In fact, while I'm here, I'm going to see if the library has a copy that I can reserve of the second Amari book. Because I'm using the library this year. And it's been very, very satisfying so far. And I'm going into town on Tuesday. So that would work for that. Amari and the Great Game is the second one? I believe. They have it. Do they have it in my library? No, but we can reserve it. and pick it up in my library. Done. Fabulous. Oh, so satisfying. I feel like it's much easier getting children's books from the library. I say, children, young adult, middle grade, from the library than getting adult fantasy. Our adult fantasy selection is terrible. Cool. And my reserved copy of Clariel is not in yet, and that's okay. Very awesome using the library. Well, yeah, I mean, I say that I've been drastically neglecting it for the last 4 years, and realized that I was buying a lot of ebooks for stuff that I just didn't need to buy the ebook for. And I think now that I've planned my reading more, it's easier to know when I need to reserve something, so I'll have it in 3 weeks. And mostly out of sheer I don't like the word lazy, but sheer laziness, I now actually go to that side of town on a more regular basis, so I can fit in visiting the library with a trip to the gym, and it all combines into a nice way, where before I never walked that end of town ever, so it didn't make sense. But no, it's been going well. In fact, I can actually mark another library book read in my stats. Library. 2. Very satisfying. Yes, I would like it if they got more adult fantasy from the last 5 years, but that's fine. That's fine. I can live with them not doing it. Right, looking at the time, I think partly because I've been... Oh, wait, hang on a minute. They have the audiobook of Bloodmarked. Okay, right, we're reading that instead. Sorry, that just came up. Decision made. I'm doing that. We might only get one more sprint in. Sorry, I know I said 1 or 2. I think we're only going to get one more in before I need to go pick up someone from the station. So I'm going to call this break to a halt here so that we can have a bit of a break at the end of the next one and have a bit of a chat. So sorry, this is a slightly... I mean, we got 12 minutes of break in. We're going to do a half hour. No, we're not going to do a half hour that starts before I've said it. There we go. We're going to do a half hour. I'm going to read Terraformers. It's going to be great. I will see you all in half an hour to close this off. I hope you all have a wonderful half hour. Right. I can talk and remember things. There we go. I have my mic on mute. I'm sorry. My mic was muted. That's me being silly. I was just reading your messages saying yay for finishing books, yay for bacon sandwiches. Yes, I know, I'm sorry. What was I going to say? I was saying I'm reading Terraformers and it's very good. That was basically the gist of it. It's a good book. I'm about 39% of the way through. So we're closing out the sprints because I have to go downstairs and clean and make food and do all of those adult things that have to happen on a Sunday. But this has been a very enjoyable time for me. Got much done. Finished Animorphs, which was my main goal because otherwise it just wasn't going to happen. And that's all good. All good. Read 15 pages and sorted out the library books I want to bring back tomorrow. Nice. And yes, the Annalee Newitt's Terraformers. It's a good time. I have a feeling it's going to make me cry and have a lot of feelings about non-human beings, but I'm really excited for it. I mostly scrolled on my phone and read a little bit in a book for work. Nice. Do I think Angela will like the Terraformers? I'll get back to you when I finished it. I don't know. I think probably, maybe. Have you read any other Annalee Newitts? I can't remember. I think it's very much one of those sci-fi books that goes, I'm going to throw a lot of stuff at you and you're going to have to infer what a lot of it means from context. I don't know what your opinions are on that. It's a lot of... I can't think of what the right word is. Yeah, I'm not far enough in to judge yet. I'm nearly halfway through, but I think give me some time and I will let you know. Maybe I'll let you know tomorrow at sprints because Angela and I are doing Patreon sprints tomorrow evening, or evening for me, afternoon for Angela. If you're either a patron of either one of us, you can come hang out on those and I will fill you in on how Terraformers goes because I'm hoping they're going to finish that tonight. My plan is to just sort of stay up until I finish it. I love 9-5 Gambit, so context is optional if there are enough things capturing. I think so far it's been really interesting. I think mostly I'm just intrigued by it. I have no idea where the plot's going to lead because kind of like it's that weird thing of it's almost already been a whole book at 40% of the way through and I can't work out where things are going to shift to like up the stakes from there. So yeah, we'll see. I will get back to you all on it. I've really liked their other stuff. I really liked Autonomous, which is all about Big Pharma, and Future of Another Timeline, which is time travel-y women's rights, a lot of things about abortion rights and such, which is really good. So this one is much more about ownership of land and colonialism in that sense, which is a really interesting theme and tackling it from this very interesting sci-fi lens. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think I find it really interesting reading Annalee Newitt stuff, knowing that their partner is Charlie Jane Anders. It makes a lot of sense. For just the kind of weirdness of it. It's a good time. Grand. Well, I'm going to call it a day and go and sort my life out is kind of the plan. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. As I say, Patreon live sprints tomorrow if you are mine or Angela's patron. That is linked. Wednesday, if you're my patron, if you're one of my ghosts, we might do another... Oh, we came up with cool names for them that most people won't know, but what did we call them? We said we were going to do Happy Haunting if it was sprints and Coffin Breaks if it was just chatty. We might do a coffin break on Wednesday. So if you're one of those people, that'll be lovely to see you there. If not, we might do sprints next weekend. No, we won't do next weekend because next weekend I'm away. So we'll be back with sprints in the future. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. If you are still weekending, have a wonderful week. If you are weeking, I shall see you very, very soon. And I shall remember that I have to go off live on this platform, not on OBS. Have a wonderful day. Bye.